highlights here, and then we'll get into, kind of what's holding Palantir back, and then kind of my thoughts about buying the stock versus not buying the stock, and where I think the stock price is going, all those sorts of things. Okay, so third consecutive quarter of GAAP profitability, second consecutive quarter of GAAP operating profitability, GAAP operating margin at 2%. That's up 1,100 basis points on a year-over-year basis. Adjusted operating margin at 25%. Third consecutive quarter of expanding margins. Cash from operations at $90 million, 17% margin. Adjusted free cash flow at $96 million, that's 18% margin. Revenue grew 13% year over year. Once again, I'm not so happy about that. I expect much stronger growth rates in future quarters and years. Surpass trailing 12-month revenue at $2 billion. U.S. commercial revenue was up 20%. That's obviously the real strength for the company right now. U.S. commercial customer count grew 35% on a year-over-year basis. So clearly, if you're expecting more strength for Palantir for the next few quarters, it's going to come from U.S. commercial. It's just very, very clear about that. Okay. Now, where's the holdback for Palantir? Okay. So, in my opinion, the holdback for Palantir right now is long sales cycles. Okay. That is definitely the holdback. And, whether we're looking at even U.S. commercial, I think should be, growing faster, but it just seems like it's a process. It's a real process to get these companies that are engaging with Palantir to actually finally sign off on the contracts, right? Now, we do know that there's a few reasons why the sales life cycle, let's call it, is a longer process for Palantir. One is, a lot of people aren't familiar with Palantir, very in-depth product, and it's not just a simple, to spend $10 million, $50 million with Palantir is not just an easy decision, right? And sometimes you got to go all the way up the ranks. So that's one part. The second part has been companies have had to really watch cost over the past, I would say, 3 to 4 quarters. Everybody's been in saving money mode, and to sign up for new software or new data, AI, and it's going to help us make better decisions, all these sorts of things. It's been a difficult process because right now you're having to go all the way up the ranks to many times the CFO and CEO sometimes to get these deals to go through, which once again makes the sales cycle a longer process, right? Now, if companies get a little more confident, then we could see, let's call it the purse strings loosen up a little bit, and we could see potentially more deals for Palantir overall, quite a substantial amount of deals in kind of all this work that they're putting in right now start to really add up to big dollars in the back half of this year, and then especially start to roll through in 2024, right? So that's a hope. The sales process is slow. International market is clueless, and those guys and gals, unfortunately, that are running those companies just they lag every time, man. And you can't lag when it comes to technology. You lag when it comes to technology, it's not going to be a good situation for you. I can tell you that. You will get out-competed in the end against your competitors, and that's what we see time and time again, right? Now, in terms of me with the stock, buying the stock, holding the stock, selling the stock, what's my thoughts here? So first off, in regards to Palantir's stock price, I wouldn't be surprised if the stock strengthens as the week goes along. I think when it comes to Palantir, I think there's just so many people focused on the future that although this quarter was not a very exciting quarter, and to just come in line is kind of a disappointing thing, especially when your stock price has been rolling. But I think there's just a lot of people looking out, and they're just fully believe that Palantir is going to get to much better growth rates than what they had this past quarter. And they're going to become a profitable machine, and they're going to have many of the biggest Fortune 500 companies out there using Palantir's product over time, which is going to be beneficial to them. You're also going to have a lot of people from the stock price perspective looking out there and saying S&P 500 looks better than ever, and there's going to be a lot of money flooding into Palantir going into that, and then once they get in, there's going to be another flood of money coming into that. So I think you have that factor playing out here. And the last factor is, from the stock price side also, is if Palantir's got a $1 billion buyback, it puts a big buyer in this market for the next 6 to 12 months. And so any major dips in the stock price, Palantir could literally be the ones actually out there buying the shares, taking the shares off the market, right? So from all those different perspectives, I wouldn't be surprised if the stock price strengthens. Now, for me overall, keep in mind, I have not listened to a conference call yet. So for me right now, it's just a hold. Now, maybe I hear something on that conference call that makes me say, you know what, I got to go buy Palantir tomorrow. If it's 18, 19, 20, 21, doesn't matter, right? Maybe there's something that will change my mindset in regards to the conference call, but for right now, I'm good with what I hold. I'm just kind of like, a fairly happy shareholder. I didn't really want to see them just come in line for this past quarter. I really wanted to see them really just, come in, beat, have a double beat right there would have been beautiful, and then up your guidance. And even the guide up was just kind of like, that's it. Like, don't we have something more than that? So that's kind of where I'm just at right now. I'm just kind of in a hold position and see how kind of things play out here. And then, like I said, maybe I listen to a conference call and something changes, right? Or maybe the stock sells off and then I get a better buying opportunity at some pretty low prices. But yeah, that was magnificent, that after hours move, folks. So, you look at a stock like Fubo. This stock is down another 7% here today. This is down. This lost a quarter of its value in the past 5 days. For what reason? None. The revenue growth was special, absolutely amazing. Revenue growth was special. The subscriber number was special. They're cutting down their losses in a meaningful way. They upped revenue guidance in terms of subscribers revenue. So everything for Fubo is much better than it was 5 days ago, but yet the stock's been hit and lost a quarter of its value. And that's just the way these stocks kind of move around, man. Avant, another great example. They came in with a incredible quarter, one of the strongest revenue growth numbers you're going to see. They're getting this business close to flipping to profitability now at this point in time, and yet what's happened with the stock over the past 5 days? It's lost about a quarter of its value in the past 5 days. Just, stock's getting nuked. Speaking about getting nuked, look at Upstart. Oh my gosh. This is a 5 day of Upstart. The stock has lost almost half the company's value in the past 5 trading days. You got to be flipping my flapjacks. Upstart, I remember this stock because it was, one of those stocks, I think it was like a $300+ stock around like 2021. And I remember they had a guy on CNBC, and the guy that was interviewing him, basically said, I think it was Tyler Matheson or something like that. He's interviewing him and he says, so what's the company do? And the guy supposedly acts like you can't hear him anymore. Huh? What? it was always a famous CNBC clip I always remember. But nonetheless, folks, Upstart stock is getting absolutely wrecked. It lost almost half its value in 5 trading days. Okay, Roblox here today is down about 22%. The gaming giant, that's a massive move down, 22% in a day. Oh my goodness. Look at Lyft here today. Lyft is down almost 9% here today. And look at the price action. So strange. I mean, the stock tanks at the open, then it comes flying up, and then just tanks again. The very strange price action. When you see stuff like that, you kind of question, what's going on here? Very, very strange, I would say that. Rivian was one of the most shocking ones I saw here today. This stock's down over 7%. Now, why is this so shocking to me? The reason is Rivian reported one of the most impressive quarters for a money-losing company I've seen in quite some time. Everything came in far better than expectations. Revenue side, delivery side, production side. Their profitability is, getting in a much, much better place in terms of cutting their losses down. Their guidance, their orders, their backlog, everything was really, really impressive. But yet that stock it can't find a bid because right now people don't want any of these riskier stocks, right? How long does this last? Well, we'll speak about that. But right now, it doesn't matter what you report for a quarter. It doesn't matter what an Avant reports for a quarter, or a Fubo or a Rivian or any of these stocks that are getting annihilated right now. If everybody says, I don't want any piece of risk right now for whatever reason, right? And we'll talk about those reasons in just a minute. It doesn't matter what you report in the short term. You're going down. And that's just unfortunately where we're at right now, right? If Wall Street wants to push down, if investors say, you know what, I want no piece of these stocks regardless, that's what's going to happen. It doesn't matter what you report for quarters. And I know it can be very demotivating as an individual stock picker, that sometimes you can have companies report much better than numbers than expected across the board, and yet your stock still sells off. But it is the market you get into when people want to go risk on, risk off sometimes, right? Look at this company, Super Microcomputer, down over 23% today. Just an absolutely massive move for that one, right? Bumble, the dating app, down over 7% here today. You look at a stock like IAC. If you don't know, they own many of the biggest websites in the world, literally. And this company makes significant money from basically advertising, which is actually a market that's strengthening, if anything, based upon what I heard on Fubo's conference call for kind of what they're expecting the back half of this year for advertising, based upon what I heard from obviously Meta, the advertising giant. Advertising looks like it's going to be in a pretty good place, at least for the back half of this year. And so to see a company like IAC down 16% today, whoo, that's a heavy hit, okay?